everybody. Welcome to our weekly Ecosystem Office Hours call. I am your host, Jinx, and we are joined, as always, by the best and brightest in the Pocket ecosystem. We will start things off with our protocol update from Olshansky.
Yo, hey everybody. Can I just get a thumbs up or a comment that you guys can hear me fine?
Yep,
You
sound
sound
good.
great.
Perfect. So I'm going to keep things short today and to the point. Our entire focus is on shipping version 0130. Everything that Grove wanted to get out in this release is already merged in. There are a couple more small quality of life improvements that may or may not make it into the release. But now that everything related to the performance of the relay miner is in, as well as some on-chain changes, our top priority is getting some community contributions in. So specifically, there are some PRs from the Pocket Scan team with respect to enabling LLMs on-chain and with respect to improving the performance even farther. So we're reviewing that. We're gonna wrap things up as soon as the end of this week or next week at the latest. And our plan is to go out with beta sometime next week, and either the last week of October or the second week of November is when we're going to be shipping V0130 to mainnet. So this is the first time we're announcing it because we've been seeing how things are moving, and the only reason we're not sure which week it's going to be is because the leadership team at Grove was invited to Ripple Swell in New York. So we just don't want to ship an upgrade to mainnet while we're all at a conference doing business development and things like that. So that's the update on the protocol side, relay miner performance releases, and the only call to action that I'll throw out before I hand it off to Fred with Path and other Grove updates is if you are a validator on mainnet and you want to help us out supporting beta testnet so that Grove isn't the only one running validators there, please reach out to the foundation or CC, do both, reach out to the foundation and CC Grove, and we'll start onboarding everybody as soon as possible. On that note, if there are any questions, jump in, and if not, Fred, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you very much, Olshansky. I will cover very briefly path updates. So on the path end, there's two things. One is just some quality of service improvements for chains that are multi-endpoint. We've noticed that there was some kind of flickering service when providers of XRPL EVM or XRPL EVM testnet were not providing stellar service on the Cosmos side, but we're doing just fine on the EVM side. So if you're a node runner, make sure you're correctly configured, but also we're doing some work to kind of break out the endpoint evaluation on a service. So, you can be good and not so good at one, and the quality of service system will still function as expected. In addition, Grove is very focused on its project codename Nexus, which is to bring enhanced configurability and more of a sysadmin style approach to Path, making it more of a single binary. We're going to be collaborating a little bit with or on that with Raid Guild as well. So more to come there. But if you take a look at the repository, you'll see the DB's been out, and now we're adding kind of the API layer, so Path can communicate very nicely with that API, and this should get us in a position where anybody who wants to operate a gateway can take Path, take the DB, take the API layer, and then bolt on a front end to all of that, and you've got yourself an end-to-end gateway. So that's the direction we're heading in. I'll also kind of echo Olshansky's sentiment about the infrastructure. Grove, in conjunction with the foundation, we're looking to diversify the ownership of infrastructure across the Pocket ecosystem. So with that, we're looking for folks to run beta testnet validators. We want someone else to take on the responsibility of maintaining beta testnet snapshots. And we're also looking for suppliers to stake on mainnet for beta testnet RPC. So you can earn money and earn Pocket by supporting beta testnet RPCs on mainnet. If you're interested, reach out to me, reach out to Jinx or anyone at the foundation, CC Grove, and we'll get that conversation going. And that's just about it from my end.
Beautiful. And I'm going to go ahead and add on to that. We've been working with Raid Guild for some time and trying to make the gateway package, including path and a portal front end and all the rest of that, as frictionless and easy to install and operate as possible. So we are going to be pushing aggressively to find testers for that and such. If you are interested in running a gateway, even small scale, as a test on the network, please do reach out. I think that node runners are an obvious first point for that, given that a lot of you already have infrastructure that is complementary to that. So please do reach out, and we will probably have some incentive programs put together in short order to help drive that as well. It is very important to our mission to decentralize gateway access to the protocol as broadly as possible. So we are just about ready to take the first steps in that. Thank you, Grove folks. I'm going to hand it over to Tracy from here for F-Chains updates.
Guys, so I'm looking at the list of everyone that's on here, and the people that have not gotten their validators up correctly with the correct percentage, none of you are on here. So I will DM all of the rest. The F-Chains program is still going really well. I haven't heard from any of you who are running the F-Chain nodes. Feel free to reach out and let me know how the income, how the revenue from the F-Chains is working out for you. And we should be having new F-Chains come on next week at some point with 2 new providers. So that's the only update other than the validators. And thank you for those of you who did get your validators up and going with the correct parameters. Thank you.
Want to have more validators running on testnet itself. So if that's something you're already familiar with, that is an additional service that you can help provide for the network. So please feel free to reach out for that. All right. We have, in case anyone did not notice, Perps went live on BingX this morning. That was a surprise to us, but if that's something of interest to you, please head on out to Twitter and look for the BingX account. They've got their links there. And I think that probably has to do with the increase in volume that we saw this morning as well. So, hey, nice little way to start a Wednesday. We have so much in the pipeline right now, and some of it I'm just really waiting on some last details to drop before we announce it. We have been talking with the Raid Guild team and associated engineers with how we want to approach dealing with the bridge rebuild, since the Axelar ecosystem terms and such have changed pretty significantly. So we're looking for what will be the best solution long-term for our ecosystem, and we think we've got something pretty solid put together, but we've got a couple more I's to dot and T's to cross before we announce that. So expect more on that next week. And I think that's the end of our agenda stuff, although I always remember something later on. So at this point, I'm just going to open the floor up and take questions, comments, suggestions, etc.
I'll jump in with another kind of ask and call to action to the community. Could someone mute whoever that is?
I think it's going to be Pepper Louise, and I just muted them.
I just did. Thank you. So if there's anything you want to get into the V0130 release, please prioritize it ASAP in your day-to-day workflow. So whether it's on-chain or the relay miner, I know we all have a lot of things going on every single day, but reviews and turnarounds and the overhead of any code change does take time to make sure there's no chain halt and other downstream issues. So as you start your day, if you need feedback from me or someone else from Grove, CC us. If you got feedback from us, please prioritize getting it in, and that way we'll all move as fast as possible to get things over the finish line. That's the call to action for me.
Yeah, and I'll reiterate that. In the next 24 to 48 hours is ideal to have everything wrapped up. If you have PRs out there or if you have commits out there, make sure that you are paying attention to the feedback that you get from the Grove team and such. We do want to make this a monster release. But a monster release that does not break things. So that does mean all proper review and testing and such needs to be done before the merge and before this next big promotion. So if you're an engineer, please make sure you are on top of it.
Thank you, Jinx.
Other questions, thoughts, comments? Oh, is Kojak in here? I saw, yeah, you are. You want to ask your question about Akash? I see Hollis typing as well. Staking is live already, correct? Staking has been live forever, but if you're talking about the Igniter application, then yes, that is also very much live, has been for a while. Here is the link. You got it. For anyone who's catching this on audio and not seeing the sidebar chat, that is staking.pokt.network. Other questions, thoughts, comments? There we go. What do you guys think about Akash leaving Cosmos? Do you think their reasoning could apply to Pocket as well? Well, first of all, I'm going to say that after a 2-year build period coming into Cosmos, we have no intention of trying to rebuild outside of it. But general high-level thoughts, and of course, I'll open up the floor to Olshansky or anyone else who wants to add theirs. Akash has a specific type of service that they're providing, and for the type of usage that they're providing, they feel like they need a different, more bespoke environment that actually meets their needs. I think in our particular instance, there are a couple of benefits to us being on Cosmos, not the least of which is a well-formed and mature ecosystem. The fact that we were able to quickly get Kepler support, for instance, and incorporate all of those tools into our ecosystem is huge. The fact that it is not a hard L1 that we have to L2 off of, but it's sort of a development environment is also something that helps us, fast track how we've structured our architecture and all the rest of that. And the ecosystem itself, we are well positioned to participate in the ecosystem in a greater way. In fact, some of the new providers who've come in on F chains are people who already exist within the Cosmos ecosystem and are serving other validators and such. So those things all benefit us. And as we start to build up delegation from outside of our ecosystem as well, that's something that's easily supported by being within the Kepler wallet, by being as part of the the drop down list of options for delegating, and a very recognizable mature system for people to interact with. I think that our V1 or V0 essentially of the Pocket network was built around also a bespoke custom purpose, but we struggled for a while with the lack of easy interaction with both our internal ecosystem and the greater crypto ecosystem at large. So being within an ecosystem that has broad support and has broad tooling already, from that perspective is a big benefit to us. But from a technical perspective, I would default to or defer to Olshansky on that.
Yeah, I'll jump in. And firstly, I'll second everything Jinx just said. So all that is right on point. I will say, in addition to it, and I chatted with Greg a little bit. So this is not a technical decision nor an ecosystem decision on behalf of a cache. They actually love the tech, they love the ecosystem, they like the tooling, the interoperability. It is a token price decision for them, because even if you have the best tech out there, if you have a lot of sell pressure, it doesn't matter, right? And the majority of their sell pressure comes from the validators maintaining the Akash network. So for us, for Pocket, being an L1 makes a lot of sense, because the majority of the sell pressure comes from the utility we provide. We're one of the few chains that actually provide utility out there, and the sell pressure comes from node providers, right? Suppliers, relay miners, selling tokens in order to compensate their infrastructure costs. Relative to that, the cost of validators is very, very minuscule. For a cache, the cost of the validator network is very, very high relative to the utility they provide. So they're looking for ways to offset that validator cost to a different chain. Now, what does that mean for us? What does that mean for the future? Well, there's tons of opportunities, and it's important to remember that software is never once and done. Software is a living piece, living, breathing, that is always evolving. And the next evolution of Pocket is very much leveraging what's already in the ecosystem. So you can think, we're in Cosmos, Babylon is in Cosmos. We can leverage Bitcoin security because of IBC and the interoperability that we have. Once we have EVM interoperability, we can also leverage the security of Ethereum through EigenLayer. So I'm going to sum all of that up right now. The reason Akash is leaving Cosmos is because of the sell pressure that validators have to pay, and they don't want to maintain that security model. I'm actually telling them that they don't have to, right? So they haven't made a decision. It's a conversation. And I'm actually one of the people participating in that conversation, telling them, here are the other options that you should consider, such as leveraging Bitcoin security or Ethereum security, before you make this go through this one-way door. I know there was a lot of context. I'm happy to double click on any of that or reiterate or clarify any part of that answer.
Well, good. Sounds like that's a nice, solid, round answer. Yeah, exactly. It makes a lot of sense now. And I do think that there are probably some other options that could help offset the pressure from validators as well. I wonder if that's something we could get into a greater conversation with later on. Other questions, thoughts, comments, topics? Oh, FYI, I am working on the Foundation Q3 report. That hasn't been lost in the mix. It's just big and long and covers our entire migration and go live period. So there's lots and lots and lots to write about. But I am trying to have that finished up and published by the end of this week. Any other final thoughts? Okay, well, Seems like everybody's in a pretty good shape then. I will reiterate what I said at the beginning of the call. We are looking to stand up as many new gateways as possible and to have people who are testing out our actual path deployment package and such. So if that is something that you have been interested in the past, then please do reach out. And aside from that, oh, Breezy's typing. I'm going to hold on. How do we find customers for the gateway without a marketing team? I'm not sure I understand that question. Do you want to elaborate on that? Well, the point of having a gateway from my point of view is an entry point to Pocket Network. That's an interesting point of view. All the gateways that I've talked to so far not um, are not particularly focused on the Pocket Network aspect as much as they are providing data services, whether that's blockchain data, other types of data, AI and LLM data and such. So like the fact that Pocket Network is on the back end is part of their marketing pitch for customers. But if I don't have customers to use it, then why deploy one? I mean, don't. Yeah, that's if that's not something that you're interested in doing business development on, then don't. That seems like a pretty straightforward answer.
I will kind of have a bit of an answer to it. Breezy, it's kind of a very personal decision on how you want to run a business. And depending on whether the product you're selling and the ecosystem you're part of is vertically integrated or horizontally decoupled, right? So I'll just use analogies from other parts of the world. Take OpenAI that builds the software, but is now trying to vertically integrate and build the chips and build the data centers and everything else. Right? Take Tesla, which owns the entire stack. One of the things about the Pocket ecosystem and crypto and blockchains in general is the fact that it's permissionless and interoperable. So the goal here is not to be vertically integrated, but it is to decouple all the different layers. So the nice thing about being a supplier in a mature network, right, which we're moving towards, is the fact that you just run infrastructure and you get paid for that. You can run a gateway and then you just do a different part of you run a different part of the infrastructure stack along with the BD side of it.
Yeah.
You have the optionality of running a gateway and a supplier, and then your slice of the network and the ecosystem is bigger and more vertically integrated. And if you really want to, you can even, like Pockets can, have a wallet, and then you own the entire user experience end to end. So it's not a how do you do it, it's a whether you want to do it. And that is kind of more of a decision that's independent to the entity that's asking that question rather than something that we'd answer.
Yeah, and generally that's also part of like a greater offering strategy, right? I mean, it sounds like that's not something that you'd thought about at all for yours, but like Pocket Scan, for instance, has been working on LLM solutions, right? So for them, it would be a matter of integrating a gateway that provides direct access for their particular LLM usage. DevDAO has an entire engineering stack offering, and so their gateway is providing the data layer of their engineering offering. And everybody that I've talked to so far, that's, the incubator model is another great one where if you're incubating new projects that will need decentralized data on the back end, you're running the gateway and the initial nodes for that new project. So you actually own, like Olshansky said, you own the entire stack. You own the service, you own the nodes, you own the gateway. That's like the entire vertical integration. So yeah, it's everyone that I've talked to that is interested. Those are the things that they're thinking about, a more vertically integrated stack where Pocket is one piece of a total offering. Yeah, your first question, I think, just threw me off. I wasn't understanding where you were going with it. But bottom line is demand. If I want to get involved to help with the tech, but I don't have demand. Right, got it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that makes sense. I understand now. Like I said, everybody who is, participating in gateway type stuff, having gateway access to the protocol is part of a greater offering. So that makes sense. Um, if you want to run the software just to test it, I'm sure that you could, literally just run it in a very, very small scale with very little compute if you're not serving a ton of traffic through it, just for the purpose of running the software and seeing how it is. Our work with Raid Guild is making sure that the installation and configuration of that is as simple as possible. So it could just be a matter of load the software and see how easy it is and then unload it and that's it. You're certainly not required to do anything with it or to build anything on top of it. But if you have an idea on how access to Pocket Network through a gateway can be part of a greater vertically integrated stack for your business, then by all means reach out and let us know what that is. We are very much working to incentivize that in every way that makes sense, including things like distributing public RPC endpoints, for instance, or other ideas along that line. So it's a brainstorm time. If you've got ideas about how you can be your own gateway that makes sense for your business, reach out. Other questions or thoughts on that? Cool. Well, it sounds like we're good. In that case, I will see y'all same time, same channel next week, and hopefully with a couple of new announcements ready to throw out there to get everyone excited. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you then.